When I saw those messages, my world stopped. The kind of stop where your heart drops, your breath catches, and everything around you turns into a blur of disbelief. My hands shook as I scrolled through Moses' phone. Each word, hidden smiley face, and "I miss you" was like a dagger being twisted deeper. But the name of the woman he was texting, that's what broke me. It was Liz, my best friend, my sister in everything but blood. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I sat there, gripping the phone, trying to remember the last time I had suspected anything. But no, I didn't see this coming. How could I? She was the one who knew about all my struggles with Moses. She was the one I cried to when our marriage seemed like it was unraveling. She was the one who told me, "You deserve better, Joy. Don't settle." She was the one who, all along, had been smiling to my face while stabbing me in the back. Liz and I have known each other since childhood. Growing up in the same neighborhood of Nairobi, we were inseparable. Two peas in a pod, always side by side from school days to adulthood. But even from an early age, our lives took different paths. Liz's life seemed perfect. She always had this air about her: charm, beauty, and intelligence, the kind that draws people in. She excelled in school, got a great job right after graduation, married the love of her life, Sam, and moved into a beautiful house. She had it all: money, love, success, everything I wanted but didn't seem to have. My life wasn't as rosy. I married Moses when we were both barely out of our 20s, full of dreams, but short on cash. Our marriage wasn't perfect, it was far from it. Bills piled up, jobs came and went, and soon Moses began drinking. We fought constantly, and our love felt more like a memory than a reality. When Liz saw how much I was struggling, she was there for me. She gave me advice, helped me out with money when times got tough, and even babysat my daughter, letting me breathe when life felt too overwhelming. I was grateful, so grateful that I never noticed the cracks forming beneath the surface. It had been one of those long, exhausting days. Moses came home late again, reeking of alcohol, with the same old excuses. He collapsed on the bed, and I didn't have the energy to fight. Instead, I grabbed his phone to check if he'd been calling our daughter's school, something he'd promised to handle, but likely hadn't. And then I saw it. A text from Liz. "I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. Last night was amazing." I stared at the screen, my mind refusing to process what was before me. I scrolled up, reading messages that spanned months. Flirty texts, secret plans, late-night meetings I never knew about. Moses and Liz had been sneaking around for nearly a year, right under my nose. The betrayal was suffocating. My hands trembled, and I felt sick to my stomach. How long had they been lying to me? How many times had I cried to Liz about my marriage problems, not knowing that she was the problem? The next morning, I confronted Moses. I held the phone before him, shaken with anger and heartbreak. He couldn't even look me in the eyes. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this," he said, rubbing his temples. "We were just friends, but then things got complicated." Complicated. I could barely control the rage rising inside me. "She's my best friend, Moses. How could you do this to me? To us?" He stammered, trying to explain himself, but no explanation was good enough. He admitted that they'd been seeing each other during the nights he claimed to be out with the boys. We didn't mean to hurt you, Joy, but things between us, between you and me, they weren't working. His words felt like a slap in the face. Yes, our marriage had problems, but this was beyond betrayal. And Liz, I couldn't even begin to fathom how she justified this. I confronted Liz later that day, storming into her house without knocking. She had this calm, composed look on her face like she'd been expecting it. I knew you'd find out eventually, she said, folding her arms. I trusted you, I screamed, my voice breaking. I told you everything, and all this time you were sleeping with my husband? Liz didn't apologize. Instead, she sat down, sighed, and said, Joy, look at your life. Look at Moses. You two have been falling apart for years. It was inevitable. Her coldness shocked me. This wasn't the Liz I thought I knew. She went on to explain how things between her and Sam had been strained, how Moses was an escape for her, someone who understood her in a way Sam didn't. Understood you? I repeated, disbelief washing over me. Liz, he's my husband. And he's not happy with you, she shot back, her voice sharp. He hasn't been happy for a long time. You were too busy trying to hold onto a broken marriage to even see that. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't just the betrayal that hurt. It was how Liz made it sound like I was to blame. Like I hadn't tried. Like I hadn't poured everything I had into holding my family together. Thanks for following the story up to this point. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Weeks passed, and I tried to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. Moses moved out, staying with Liz. Our neighborhood buzzed with gossip. People who had once admired Liz's perfect life now whispered behind her back. Sam, her husband, had left her too. She'd lost everything, and now she was living with a man who had helped destroy 2 marriages. But that wasn't the end of it. One evening, I got a call from Sam. We need to talk, he said, his voice tight. It's about Liz. I met him at a small cafe, and the moment I saw his face, I knew something was wrong. He looked worn, defeated. There's more, he said quietly, pushing a folder across the table toward me. I opened it and saw bank statements, financial records, and photos. Liz hadn't just been betraying me with Moses. She had been funneling money out of Sam's accounts, siphoning off thousands. She'd been living a double life for years, taking from him, from me, from anyone she could. The money funded her extravagant lifestyle, her weekend getaways, and even the gifts she'd given Moses. The truth was out, and it was worse than I ever imagined. Liz's perfect life had been a facade, a carefully crafted lie built on manipulation and greed. And now, as everything unraveled, she was left with nothing. No friends, no family, no husband, and no money. I too was left to rebuild. But unlike Liz, I had something she could never take from me: my integrity, my daughter, and the knowledge that I would rise from this. I learned a hard lesson in the process. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who will betray you in ways you never see coming. And sometimes the life you envy is built on lies, on cracks waiting to shatter. Ultimately, it wasn't Liz's beauty, charm, or intelligence that defined her. It was her inability to find happiness within herself. And it was that emptiness that led her to destroy everything she touched. Trust is fragile, and the people you let closest to you can sometimes be the ones who cause the most pain. But the true lesson is in how you rise from the ashes. Not every perfect life is as it seems, and sometimes the strongest people are the ones who survive the deepest betrayals without losing themselves. Tell me what you think about this story in the comments below. Thanks for following the story up to this point. Please like and subscribe to this channel.